You walk into a grocery store for milk and bread. 30 minutes later, you're at the checkout with a cart full of stuff you didn't plan to buy. The total is $197. You stare at the screen. How did this happen? You only came for milk and bread. This wasn't an accident, this was engineered. Every single element of that store was designed by psychologists and marketing experts to make you spend more money. The layout, the lighting, the music, the smells. Even the size of your shopping cart, all of it calculated to extract maximum dollars from your wallet. And it's working. The average American now spends over $7,000 annually on groceries. That's up from $4,500 just a decade ago. Some of that is inflation, but a lot of it is manipulation. Stores have gotten incredibly sophisticated at making you buy things you don't need at prices you shouldn't pay. Let me show you exactly how they're doing it, because once you see the tricks, you can't unsee them. And that might save you thousands of dollars a year. Let's start with the shopping cart. Seems innocent enough, right? It's just a cart, except it's not. Shopping carts have gotten bigger, a lot bigger. In the 1970s, the average shopping cart held about 27 liters. Today's carts hold over 150 liters. They're massive. You could fit a small child in there comfortably. Why does this matter? Because humans have a psychological need to fill empty space. An empty cart feels wrong, wasteful. You unconsciously start filling it to make it look more complete. Studies show that doubling cart size increases purchases by 40%. You don't need 40% more stuff, but the big empty cart makes you buy it anyway. Some stores are even experimenting with carts that have two sections: a main basket and a smaller compartment. The smaller section is labeled for produce or fragile items. But the real purpose is psychological. Now you have two spaces to fill. People with two-section carts buy 19% more on average than people with standard carts. The cart is the first manipulation, but it's just the beginning. Now let's talk about the layout. You walk in. Where's the milk? Back corner. Where's the bread? Other back corner. Where are eggs? Also in the back somewhere. Nothing you actually need is near the entrance. This is intentional. It's called the decompression zone. Stores want you to walk past as much product as possible before you get to the essentials. The average grocery store is designed so the most commonly purchased items force you to travel the maximum distance. While you're walking to get milk, you pass the bakery. Fresh cookies. They smell amazing. Suddenly you're thinking about cookies. You weren't thinking about cookies 2 minutes ago, but now you are. And there's a display of cookies right there, on sale. You buy cookies. Then you pass the deli. There's a person offering free samples of cheese. You try it. It's good. The cheese is sitting right there. You buy cheese. You didn't come for cheese, but now you own cheese. This path to the milk just cost you $18, and you haven't reached the milk yet. The layout forces you past hundreds of products before you get to the basics. Each item is a chance for impulse buying. Studies show that 70% of grocery purchases are unplanned. People go in with a list and leave with 3 times as much. The layout makes this happen, but it gets more manipulative. Ever notice how stores rearrange everything constantly? You go in, you know where the pasta is. Next week, it's somewhere else. This isn't incompetence, it's strategy. When you know where everything is, you can shop efficiently. In and out, 15 minutes, minimal spending. But when they move stuff around, you have to search. You wander the aisles looking for the pasta. While you're wandering, you see other products. You make more impulse purchases. Stores that frequently rearrange products see a 12% increase in sales. Your frustration is their profit. Now let's talk about product placement. You're walking down the cereal aisle. Where is the expensive cereal? Eye level. Where is the cheap cereal? Bottom shelf. This isn't random. Products at eye level sell 60% better than products on lower shelves. So stores charge manufacturers premium fees for eye-level placement. The expensive brands pay for the best spots. The cheap alternatives get buried. This is why you need to look up and down. The good deals are never at eye level. They're always high or low. The middle shelves are reserved for the products with the highest profit margins. But it's worse for parents. If you bring kids, the candy and sugary cereals aren't at your eye level. They're at kid eye level, around 3 feet off the ground. Kids see bright colors and cartoon characters right in their face. They start begging. You get tired of saying no. You buy the sugary cereal. Character licensing costs cereal companies millions, but it's worth it because kids are incredible at manipulating parents into purchases. The cereal isn't positioned for adults. It's positioned for the person who will nag you until you give in. Let's talk about end caps. These are the displays at the end of aisles. They always look like great deals. Big signs, bold numbers, stacks of products. Most people assume end cap products are on sale. They're not. Studies show that 30% of end cap products aren't discounted at all. They just look like deals because of the presentation. And even when they are on sale, they're often loss leaders, products sold at minimal profit to get you into that aisle. You stop at the end cap, you grab the deal, then you're standing in that aisle. And while you're there, you notice other things. You make additional purchases. The end cap product was bait. The real money is made on everything else you grab while you're in that section. Now let's discuss the bakery and deli. Why are they near the entrance? Because smell is the most powerful trigger for impulse buying. That fresh bread smell, that isn't accidental. Some stores pump artificial bakery scent through the ventilation system. Others schedule baking during peak hours to maximize the smell. Because the scent of fresh baked goods triggers hunger. Hungry shoppers spend 64% more than satisfied shoppers. You weren't hungry when you walked in, but now you smell cookies and fresh bread. Your stomach responds. Suddenly everything looks good. You start buying more food than you planned, all because of engineered smells. The deli works the same way. Free samples aren't generosity. They're sales tactics. When you eat that sample cheese, 3 things happen. You feel obligated to buy something. You're now thinking about that product. And you're slightly less hungry, which keeps you shopping longer without getting tired. Studies show free samples increase sales of the sampled product by 200%. But they also increase total shopping basket size by 23%. That free piece of cheese cost you $40 in additional purchases. Let's talk about music. Pay attention next time you shop. There's always music playing. Usually soft, usually slow tempo. This is engineered. Studies show that slow tempo music makes people shop slower. They spend more time in the store. More time means more purchases. Stores playing music under 72 beats per minute see 32% higher sales than stores with faster music or no music. The music also affects what you buy. Classical music is associated with luxury. When stores play classical music, people buy more expensive products. They tested this with wine. When classical music played, people bought wine averaging $12 per bottle. When pop music played, they bought $8 bottles. Same wine selection, different music. 50% price difference in purchasing behavior. You're being psychologically manipulated by background music you barely notice, and it's changing what goes in your cart. Now let's discuss pricing tricks. You see a price tag, 3 for $5. You think that's a deal. You buy 3. But here's what you didn't check. What's the regular price? Often, 3 for $5 is the same as buying them individually, $1.67 each. You didn't need 3, but the way it was presented made you think buying 3 was smarter. You just bought extra inventory you didn't need. This is called unit price deception. The tag says 3 for $5 in big numbers. The actual per unit price is in tiny font. Most people don't calculate it. They just see 3 for and think sale. Another pricing trick, $9.99 versus $10. You know $10 and $9.99 are basically the same. Your rational brain knows this. But your irrational brain sees 9-something and processes it as significantly cheaper than 10. This is called charm pricing, and it works absurdly well. Products priced at $9.99 sell 24% better than products priced at $10. 1 cent difference, 24% sales increase. It shouldn't work, but it does. And stores know exactly where to use it. Loss leaders are priced at whole numbers, $4, $5. They look clean and honest. High-margin products use charm pricing, $9.99, $14.99. Because those are the products where they need psychological manipulation to close the sale. Let's talk about the checkout. You're done shopping. You're waiting in line. Why is there candy and magazines right at the checkout? Because you're trapped. You can't leave the line without losing your spot. You're standing there with nothing to do. Your eyes wander. You see candy, you see magazines, you see drinks. These are all high-margin impulse purchases placed exactly where you're most vulnerable. The checkout area generates 8% of total store revenue, despite being 3% of floor space. It's the most profitable section per square foot, because they've trapped you and surrounded you with temptation. And the line itself is engineered. Stores want lines long enough that you're standing there for 3 to 5 minutes. Not so long you leave, but long enough to get bored and look around. That's the sweet spot for checkout impulse purchases. Some stores are even putting refrigerated sections near checkouts now. Drinks, yogurt, ready-to-eat items. All high margin, all positioned for people who are waiting and bored. Now, let's talk about sales. You see a bright yellow tag, 50% off. Must be a great deal, right? Maybe not. Some stores raise prices 2 weeks before putting items on sale. The 50% off brings it back to the normal price, or just slightly below. You think you're getting a deal. You're actually paying regular price with extra psychological manipulation. Other stores use perpetual sales. The item is always on sale. This week it's 20% off. Next week it's buy one, get one. The week after it's 15% off. It's never full price, because the full price is fake. It's artificially inflated to make the sales seem better. You can check this. Look at the unit price over time. If it never changes despite constant sales, you're being manipulated. And those loyalty card discounts. You need the store card to get the sale price. Without it, you pay full price. This isn't savings. This is data collection with extra steps. The store wants your information, your purchase history, your patterns. What you buy, when you buy it, how much you typically spend. They sell this data, or use it to send you targeted coupons for high-margin products. That $2 you saved with your loyalty card cost you your privacy and made you a target for more manipulation. Let's talk about fresh produce placement. Why are fruits and vegetables at the entrance? Because they're colorful and healthy. Stores want your first impression to be abundance and health. You see fresh produce. You feel good about shopping there. This is called the health halo effect. When you start your shop in the produce section, you feel virtuous. You're buying healthy food. This feeling of virtue gives you psychological permission to buy junk later. You bought broccoli. You're being healthy. So it's okay to buy cookies and chips. You've earned it. The produce section was just psychological permission for worse purchases later. Also, produce has high margins, especially organic. So starting you in the section with the highest markup is strategic. Here's something most people don't know, that produce isn't as fresh as you think. Those apples might be 6 months old, stored in controlled atmosphere warehouses. They look fresh. They're not. And the misting, the automatic sprayers that spray water on the vegetables. That's not to keep them fresh. It's to make them heavier. Water adds weight. You're buying water at produce prices. Now let's discuss brand placement within categories. You're looking at peanut butter. 20 brands. Where's the expensive brand name? Eye level, big label. Where's the store brand? Bottom shelf, small label. The expensive brand paid for premium placement. The store brand is the store's product, so they should promote it, right? Wrong. The expensive brand has higher profit margins. The store makes more selling name brand, even though they own the store brand. So, they position expensive products where you'll see them first. They make cheap alternatives harder to find. Your convenience is for sale to the highest bidding manufacturer. Some stores are even using digital price tags now. These can change throughout the day. Surge pricing for groceries. Milk costs more at 6 p.m. when working parents shop than it does at 10 a.m. when retirees shop. You're paying different prices based on when you shop, based on demographic targeting. Based on real-time demand algorithms. It's like Uber, but for eggs. Let me give you real numbers. I tracked someone's grocery spending for 6 months. Before understanding these tricks, they averaged $230 per week for a family of 4. That's about $12,000 annually. After learning the manipulation tactics, same family, same diet, they started shopping differently. Shopping list on phone, never browsing, ignoring end caps, checking unit prices. Shopping the perimeter, avoiding the center aisles where processed food lives. Their weekly average dropped to $140. That's $90 saved weekly, $4,600 annually. Same food, same family, just conscious of the manipulation. That's a $4,600 stupidity tax they were paying. Not because they were dumb, because the store was engineered to extract that money. So how do you fight back? How do you avoid spending $73 more than you planned every single trip? First, never shop hungry. Eat before you go. Hungry shoppers spend 64% more. A sandwich before shopping saves you $50. Second, make a list and stick to it. People with lists spend 40% less than people without. The list is your defense against impulse buying. Third, ignore the layout. Go directly to what you need. Don't browse. Every aisle you walk down that you don't need is money leaving your wallet. Fourth, check unit prices. Not the big number. The small number that shows price per ounce or pound. That's the real price. Compare unit prices. The cheap option is usually top or bottom shelf. Fifth, avoid end caps unless you specifically need that product and checked that it's actually on sale. Sixth, shop the perimeter. Fresh food lives on the outside edges. Processed, expensive food is in the center aisles. 90% of what you need is around the perimeter. 7th, use cash. When you pay with card, you spend 28% more. Cash makes spending feel real. You see the money leave your hand. 8th, don't go more than once a week. Every store visit is another opportunity for them to manipulate you. Fewer visits mean fewer chances to overspend. These tactics won't eliminate grocery spending. You need food. But they'll eliminate the manipulation tax. That's $70 to $100 per trip that you're spending because stores engineered you to spend it. The grocery store isn't your friend. It's a carefully designed psychological trap built to extract maximum money from you. Every color, every smell, every placement, calculated by experts to make you spend. But once you see it, once you understand the tricks, you can fight back. You can get the food you need without funding their psychological manipulation budget. That's not being cheap, that's being smart. And being smart at the grocery store saves thousands annually. Money you can use for literally anything else besides overpaying for food you didn't even want. So, next time you walk into a store and see that massive cart, that bakery smell, that carefully engineered layout, remember, this is a game. They're playing it, and now you know the rules. Play your game instead. Get what you need. Pay what it's worth. Leave. Don't let them turn your grocery trip into a $200 psychological manipulation session. Because every dollar you don't spend on manipulation is a dollar in your pocket. And enough dollars in your pocket means you're not trapped anymore. That's the real goal. Not just saving money on groceries, but recognizing when you're being manipulated and refusing to participate. That skill applies everywhere, and it starts at the grocery store.